What's up, guys? Welcome to Nimble Minds Talks of Self and Spirituality, where we talk about different philosophical perspectives as well as spiritual practices. And this video is going to be straight to the point, very simple. It's just going to be a conversation about lust, right? And on this channel, I cover this a lot, and I always say that. I'll continue to say it. It's going to be a constant topic on this channel, okay? And why is that? Okay, if you haven't seen other videos or you haven't heard from the other videos, the reason is because of how strong the urge to lust is. Okay, once again, I always mention there are other things, greed, gluttony, deceit, other things as well that can be just as much of an issue, right? But lust is usually the main culprit, right? That's usually the main one that you see. That even if people don't talk about, you can see how it has affected people's lives in terms of the situations they are in because of that. So we're just going to be discussing lust today, okay? So this is a very powerful energy. It has to do with the whole sexual energy, and there's different ways people talk about it. Okay, at the end of the day, people talk about the chakras, people talk about kundalini. It's all the same. It's all the lust. It has to do with lust and that energy. Okay, now, are there different things you can do to make sure you don't give in to the lust? Yes, okay. And then that's when you get the conversation of people talking about transmuting and all this stuff. And some people call it witchcraft, some people call it all this craziness. But at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure you do not give in to the lust, okay? That's the goal, okay? Maybe there is some witchcraft or some other type of stuff when it comes to it, but that's not what I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about not going into your lust, okay? I'm talking about doing things to make sure you're able to abstain from your lust, okay? So, for example, when I'm talking about these things, you may be, what I'm saying, just hanging out in your room. That's the thing I do, okay? And maybe you're just reading or playing the game, or you may be at your job or something, okay? And you see a beautiful lady walk by. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? Women look great. Women are gonna look beautiful. That's just what it is, okay? You have a choice. You can either, just appreciate the beauty in her and then, okay, move on, right? But what you don't want to do is start fantasizing about her. What you don't want to do is start sizing her up, okay? What you don't want to do is start looking her up and down, you know what I'm saying? Because that could be somebody's wife at the end of the day. That could be somebody's girl at the end of the day, okay? And even if that man is not there, okay? Even if that man is not there, that doesn't mean that is giving you permission to just size her up and play, just have her as your eye candy, okay? That's not what that is. So you're gonna have to be able to uh, come up with something to distract yourself, okay? To be able to get close to the spirit, get close to the soul, to give you the strength so you can withhold, okay? So those are things that you're gonna have to do, okay? For example, if you're a person that's in your room, you could be just in there hanging out, chilling in your room, and then that, could be another situation where you run into that urge, okay? I like to call it the urge. Okay, the urge. That's literally what it is. You get the urge to want to maybe search up some video, okay? Or maybe you have a female on your phone. You get the urge to want to hit her up or something, okay? You want to text her, send her a message, hey, slide over, hey, come over, things like that, okay? No. That's the answer. Very simple. Say no. She cannot come over, or you're not going to be engaging in any of that activity, okay? If you're a person that's making the a decision, the attempt to withhold and actually have some self control, okay? If that's what you're trying to do, then this is some of the things you're gonna have to start thinking about, okay? You're gonna have to say no to her, okay? You're gonna have to say no to these websites, okay? And then you're gonna have to say no to these feelings that will pop up, okay? Because it's not a matter of if, no. The thoughts will come, and that's when you will be tested. That's when you're gonna have to say, you know what? I'm not going to give into this temptation right now, okay? I see this beautiful girl. I acknowledge it. She looks good, and that's great. Now I got to move on, okay? You don't want to stay there. You don't want to ponder too long about it and give it too much thought, because that's when you allow the lust to take over, okay? That's when you allow that temptation to really start tempting you, okay? That's when that temptation turns into a motivation for action, okay? And that's what you don't want. So for me, I would recommend, hey, if you see a beautiful girl, okay, you just acknowledge it to yourself. Okay, you know what? She looks good. There's nothing wrong with that. And you have to move on, okay? You don't want to stay there and be like, oh, she looks good. Look what she's wearing, and then all this extraness. No, 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 no. She looks good. That's that. And then you're going to have to move on, okay? And then also when the thoughts come up, because the thoughts will come up, acknowledge them. Just acknowledge it. Be like, okay, yep. We see what this is. But you can't give into it, because at the end of the day, if you're a person that's on this path, you're gonna be a person that's gonna be making these conscious decisions. That's like, this is not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be giving into my pleasures, okay? When it pops up like this, I'm going to say no. When it pops up like this, I'm going to have that self-control to be able to know that, hey, this is a very strong feeling. This is a very strong sensation, okay? And have the understanding that most people are not going to be able to say no to that, okay? Most people are not going to be able to say no to this urge when it comes on very strongly like this, okay? And what is the result of this? What is the product of this, okay? Well, you can see it when it comes to families, okay? And I do talk about this all the time, and it doesn't necessarily have to be broken families. The family could be just fine, okay? This doesn't have to mean that there's an issue, but it could mean that, hey, maybe this person got into the situation with a lady because they were guided by their lust, okay? And it led to some mistrust, okay? They were guided by their lust, so now they got with this woman, okay? And now they're in this relationship, and maybe they're fine, okay? But maybe now it's taking away from their purpose, okay? It's taken away from their goals and other things they could be focused on as well now, because now they're so engaged in this, this lust, this activity, and then it's just those things that, hey, now they just can't focus on what the goal is, what the plan is, okay? And even having children, okay? Maybe they have a child and they're there for the child and everything's great, but still, maybe it may have been too early for a child, okay? Maybe, now they're in a situation where they can't do some of the things that they were meant to do, right? Purpose to do, put here to do, because now they've already brought another spirit, another soul into this world, okay? So, just because people are engaging in this lust doesn't necessarily mean it always has to be like, oh my God, it's the end of the world as we know it. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be that. But in a lot of cases, though, it is that as the result of lust, okay? For example, people out here always going to, strip clubs, for example, right? At the end of the day, there's a market for it. So it's simple economics, supply and demand. If there's a demand for it, I'm sure there's going to be a supply. But at the end of the day, if you're one of those guys that's saying, hey, I'm going to take these steps to have some self-control, I'm going to take these steps to make sure I don't fold, then you're going to have to say no to that, okay? You're going to have to drive by that strip club and be like, hey, it is what it is. You're going to have to see that beautiful lady and be like, hey, she's beautiful, but it is what it is, not for me. You're going to have to get that urge and get these sensations and be like, hey, it is what it is, but it's not for me. You're going to have to understand that, hey, you could easily search up a website. You could easily hit up a girl if your DMs are flooded. If you're one of those guys, you can easily do that, but you're going to have to be like, you know what? Tonight is not the night that we're doing this. Tonight is not the night that I'm giving into these urges. Tonight's not the night that I'm going to give into these tempting thoughts and these tempting, sensations. So you're going to have that self-control, okay, to be able to be aware that you will be tempted, and you will be almost even guided to give in to your desires, but there are benefits to being able to say no, okay? Now you're building what? You're building your focus, okay? You're building your determination, okay? You're building different things that are able to actually help you and translate into other aspects of your life, and now you're actually able to focus on whatever that thing is that you're doing. For example, maybe a person with an idea out there, or like a business that you have going on, okay? You probably already got a business. You probably already got some clothing stuff going on. You probably already got this job. You probably already got this, great, you're in school or something. You already got something that's really going good for yourself. And now you're able to focus even more on that, okay? Because now you're not bringing any more distractions into your life, okay? Now you're not engaging in these actions in your life, like, adding a woman into that, okay? Because at the end of the day, let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest. If you have a woman, it's only right that y'all give each other y'all time, right? Or at least some of it, okay? And then if you're giving her some time, you're going to have less time somewhere else, okay? And that's okay because, hey, if y'all together, that's just what it's going to be, right? But you have to understand that that's one of the things, right, that you're going to be giving up. That's one of the things that you're going to be, the trade-off, right, is some of your time, okay? So that's why it's good to abstain and restrain and retain, okay? So you can better focus on those areas that may need that focus, okay? You can better, guide yourself in those areas that you really need to guide yourself, okay? And I'm going to use myself as an example here, right? I'm sure there's some maybe guys out there that could relate, and maybe there's some women out there that could relate. But I know myself, right? I just know how I am, right? If I even gave a woman attention, right, and we even were able to have a good time together and even relate and have that vibe or whatever it is, like I'm a person that's like almost all in, and that's not necessarily the best thing, right? But if I'm with a woman, right, I'm not going to be the person that's with her and then at the same time like surveying the field. Like I don't play the field, like I just play her. You feel me? So like if I'm with this one girl, then I'm just with her. Like I'm not about to be out here trying to play around and act like I got all these women. I'm gonna tell her, I'm gonna be like, look, it's just you feel me? And I'm a hope, right, that that's how she's gonna be back, and vice versa. It's gonna have to be like that, right? So I'm gonna be like, look, it's just you, and it's gonna have to just be me, right? If we're really gonna do this thing, okay? That's how I am. So I know that I'm a person that really goes in hard, right, when it comes to relationships and things like that. That's why I take it very seriously, okay? And I know there's people out there that can relate to that, okay? I know there's people out there that understand that. So that's also another reason for the people out there to not engage in your lust, okay, and to not engage in these temptations, because at the end of the day, you start giving into those things, right? You may get into a situation where you can't even help yourself but to just be like 2 feet in. You can't help yourself but to be all in and just be like, look, I'm gonna give all I've got to you. I'm gonna give my love to you. I'm gonna give, like, not even just that, I'm gonna just really like be there, bro, and we're just gonna vibe out and just have a great time together and do what we gotta do together, okay? You might be that person, and at the end of the day, I'm telling you, it's not worth it to get into a situation where you really are putting into this person and then it doesn't work out, because I'm telling you, like, that's just not a good feeling to have, right? It's like, dang, bro, like, we were together, I thought it was great, everything was going great, and then it didn't work out, and you gave all that energy to it and then it just didn't work. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. So that's another reason to abstain, retain, and restrain, so from your lust, okay? Because then you can prevent situations like that from happening, okay? You will not end up in a situation where you're giving all this to the woman and vice versa. She's giving what she's got to you, because that's the ideal situation, right? The ideal situation is that, the ideal situation is that you're putting all in for her, and she's really all giving it all to you. No John Legend, all that. Let me not even start singing, but that's the point, okay? So that's why you want to be able to abstain, okay, and be careful, because that's the last thing you want to do is end up in a situation like that. Now you don't put so much time and energy to where it's gonna affect you, okay? And then God forbid that you end up having a kid, bro, and then it doesn't work out, and then it's like, dang, like, now we done brought the kid into this. It's not the kid's fault, okay? The kid didn't ask to be here. Like, that's not, you can't put the blame on the kid. You gotta take some accountability there, okay? It's like, it was you, you did that, and what I'm saying, really, like, that was you. But yeah, you do want to be careful, okay? Because that's the last thing you want to do, because that's when things get all, unnecessary, I would say. That's when things get into unnecessary territory, okay? And then you start engaging in a lot of unnecessary things that are not beneficial, that are not productive, okay, that are not constructive at all for each of the people involved. And that's where the fall begins, okay? Now you're arguing with this woman that you were supposed to be, in love with, giving her all to, and you were, right? And now she's arguing with you. She was supposed to be giving all this to you. And then that's a whole back and forth. Then the child got to watch it, and it's like Google Gaga. The child don't even know what's going on. And Google Gaga went in the background. Next thing you know, the child got to grow up and then to finally understand what's going on. And it's like, got to make a decision. Am I about to do that too? Or nah, I'm going to have to actually make a change here because this ain't right. Like, you know what I'm saying? We could just avoid all that. You could literally just avoid all that if you have self-control, right? If you don't give in to your temptations, okay? If you say, you know what? I see her. She's beautiful. No. These thoughts, they have entered. No. This site, I could get on it. No. This woman, I could hit her up right now. I'm pretty sure we'd have a great time. No. Okay. They ain't not play. No. Okay. I could get her number. No. Okay. Let me stay focused. Yes. Okay. Let me stay true to the yes. Okay. Okay, I'm going to be productive. Yes. Okay. I'm going to stay focused. Yes. Okay, there's a goal, yes. Okay, there's a mission, yes. Okay, I'm gonna be more productive towards things I have, yes. Okay, I'm gonna enjoy some of these hobbies, yes. Okay, I'm gonna increase my ability, and whether it's mechanical things, engineering things, mental things, yes. Okay, that's what you will do. Okay, but you're gonna have to say no to some of these temptations that are out there, because at the end of the day, it's not easy. The temptations do come on strong. Okay, and that's when it's game time. Okay, when the thoughts have entered, when that lady has walked by, when she's in your vicinity, when she's in your view, that's when the game is on. Okay, that's when it's really go time. That's when you're being put to the test. Okay, to be able to tell whether or not you're gonna stay focused. Okay, to be able to tell whether or not you're gonna be able to say no for real. Okay, because that's how a lot of people have been derailed. That's how a lot of people have been taken off course, okay? Is that they were focused at one time. They were productive in what they needed to do. Then they end up getting, succumbing to that lust right there, okay? Now they got a woman, okay? And ain't nothing wrong with that, but now they gonna have to give time to that woman, and that woman gonna have to give time to her man, okay? And then now you're no longer, focused on the other things. Okay, now there's other things that are taking up your time. All right, so that's the things you do want to be aware of. Okay, and also when it comes to the temptations, I kept it very, focused on, oh, she'll walk by and the thoughts will enter, but also there's people out there that have social circles, and that's a great thing. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's people out there that have social circles and groups of people they hang out with. That could be another source of temptation right there, because now there's this type of pressure where if you hang out with them, he got a girl, he got a girl, he got a woman, he got a woman, she got a man, she got a man, they holding hands, they holding hands, they trying to dance, they trying to dance, like it's all types of stuff. So now you're being put to the test even in that situation, because now you're gonna have thoughts thinking to yourself like, dang, like maybe having a woman isn't so bad. Okay, maybe I want to be holding hands. Maybe that's not such a bad idea. Maybe a child is not a bad thing right now. Maybe I could have a Jimmy, a little John, okay, a little Reek, okay, a little Junior, okay. I could have a little mini me running around. Maybe that's not a bad idea, okay. Maybe that's something I could do, okay. Those are the thoughts you're gonna have, okay. And then you're gonna have people looking at you like, when are you gonna, what I'm saying, and put a ring on it, okay, dance on it. Like you're gonna have people like that, okay. Commit to that answer is gonna have to be no. Okay, but there are people who get put in that situation and they fold. Okay, now they got this girl with them. Okay, there's put pressure on them. Okay, then now there's a baby. Okay, it's only been a year. Okay, it's only been a year and a half. It's only been 2 years. Okay, there's already a baby on the way. Like, hey, this is the stuff that happens. Okay, this is real world. This is the real life. This is what happens out there. Okay, so you're gonna have to say no. Okay, you're gonna have that self-control, that wherewithal to understand that, although it may sound good in your head, although it may be something that you've played out and it's like, say no, okay. And matter of fact, just keep it there, okay. Keep it right there, okay. It sounds good in your head. Just keep it there. Keep it there, okay? Keep it there. Because it may even be good, okay, right? Because that's part of the temptation, right? It sounds good in your head. Then you actually go get a woman. You guys are having the best time of your life. Everything's just sunshine and rainbows. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Honeymoon phase. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. And then, hey, baby. When. Goo goo gaga. Hey, that's it. She got him. Hey, that's it. She got him. Like, that's it right there. She won. Like, hey, I'm trying to tell you. That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. So, be careful, right? Be careful, right? Just be careful out there, and understand that there will be temptations. There will be strong urges out there, but it is worth it. It is fruitful in the end to continue to have that self-control and to not give into these temptations. Once again, it's not going to be easy. Temptations are everywhere, okay? Every day that you wake up. Okay, you don't even gotta leave anywhere. If you have a phone, the temptation is right there. And then let alone if you decide, hey, you gotta go grocery shopping. Hey, you gotta go get this for whatever it is that you're doing. Like maybe you're like working on a project or something. Hey, you gotta get that. And next thing you know, like you're gonna be out there. The women gonna be there. Okay, they're gonna be there, and they gonna be looking good. That's just what they do. And that's what they do best, looking good, smelling good, the shape right. But you're going to have that self-control and say no, okay? So just understand that the temptations will be there, and it is worth it to say no and to withhold, okay? Because a lot of times, right? A lot of times, it is just a temporary feeling. A lot of times, it really is just like momentarily you feel it, and it comes on so strong that you almost want to give into it, but it's just not worth it, okay? Because a lot of times people make, those lifelong decisions based off that, momentary feeling, right? Just that, she looks so good in that moment. So now we got, 50 kids. Huh? You're telling me off this one moment, now y'all got 50 kids, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling you to be, Mr. Psychiatrist, Mr. Psychologist, Mr. Therapist, because at the end of the day, it's not your job to fix whatever the situation is, but, hey, learn from that, okay? Understand that. Look at other people's situations they may have going on, okay? When it comes to people being put on like child support, okay? When it comes to people, the family ends up getting a little broken up, okay? Just look at situations like that and keep it simple. Just ask yourself, do I want to be in that situation? If the answer is yes, then go right ahead. But, I'm sure the answer is probably no. So then you're going to have to adjust your actions accordingly so you don't get into that situation, right? Look at different situations. Do I want to be arguing with my baby mama all the time and this kid is here and then the kid got to deal with, is that even fair to the child? No. Do you want to be in that situation? No. Okay. So those are the questions you should ask yourself. Okay, do I always want to be involved with these courts going back and forth, right? I got to pay this, I got to pay that. Now I hate women. Okay, now she hates men, and now it's like perpetuating the cycle of constant arguing. And do you want to be a part of that? No. Okay, so now you're going to have actions and adjust yourself accordingly, all right? So you're not, or you don't end up in that situation, okay? Because at the end of the day, it can happen to anybody, and that's what makes it such a versatile temptation. That's what makes it so strong. It can happen to anybody. You could be doing great one day. You could be doing great for a while. Next you know, one woman comes by with a smile. And next you know, you got a little child. Like, that's literally how it happens. She was looking good. She said everything she needed to say. I just said there ain't no way she ain't gonna be my bae. Like, you know what I'm saying? She is the right one for me. There's just no way I could ever live my life without her, and all this other stuff. And next you know, bro. And when you start hearing a man talk like that, she got him, bro. When you start hearing a man, she got him, bro. It's over with, bro. Hey, I'll be at the door for when you decide to come back, all right? You know what I'm saying? Because that means she got him. I don't know what's happening over there. I don't even want to know what's in the food. I don't want to know what's going down. But whatever she's doing it correctly, because I don't even know if he know where he at right now. So that's what I'm telling you, all right? Just be careful out there, because it happens very quickly. People can get sprung very quickly, okay? All it takes is, one situation, one experience, one moment, and next you know, hey, the one of the people you thought would never all of a sudden like have a kid or all this thing, they got a whole bunch of kids. And you're just like, how did this happen? What happened? He's just like, look, she's the one for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, that's when I gotta hit that right there. She got him, bro. That's like, hey, she got him, bro. Like, that's all you can say, that she got him, bro. Like, ain't no going back now. Like, you got a little kid on the way, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Hey, and good luck, bro. Like, I don't know. I'm at the door, man. I'm at the door whenever you decide. You know what I'm saying? Before the kid. If you're lucky enough, you're fortunate enough to realize before the child, bro, I'm at the door. I'm gonna be like, welcome back, you know what I'm saying? But if as soon as that child, she got him, bro. She got him. So once again, be careful with the lust out there. Be careful with the temptations out there, because they are there. They are there, okay? They are there, okay? And then, you know, and hey, protect yourself, right? Protect yourself out there. So if you are out there, even though, hey, I'm telling you, if you're on this, hey, we ain't they ain't looking at no women crazy. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even trying to think about it. I don't even want to touch you. Like, it's just like that. Even though you look good, you smell good and all that. Look. I'm over here because we're focused right now. Okay, we're focused right now. We're not giving into any of that right now. Okay, but there's gonna be people out there. Hey, where's some protection, bro? Okay, where's some protection, bro? And me personally, I ain't even trying to talk like that right now. But I'm just saying, at least wear some protection, bro. Because hey, but even once again, that could be a problem because it starts there, right? And you know you want to take it. Hey, look, I'm trying to tell you. Hey, she got him. I'm at the door. Just let me know when you back, bro. But hey, it can happen. So that's why it is good to be aware of the temptations, you know, and have some control over it. Have some control of the urge. So when you do meet that woman that's for you, okay, when you guys finally do come together, right, you guys are able to do it right, okay? You guys understand, hey, we were both out here on our P's and Q's, you know, we were doing what we had to do. You weren't sleeping around, you were focused, she wasn't sleeping around. She was focused right, hopefully. And now you guys can come together, and then you guys have that family. Then you guys, you know, get together and have the laughs, have the smiles, have the child, okay? Have all the riles, right? Everything you need, right? Because that's the ideal situation. I'm not saying every situation is going to work out like that, but that is the ideal situation, okay? That is the ideal situation, all right? So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys, whoever's watching, whoever's listening, was able to take something from this video and, you know, hopefully apply it to some aspect of their life and approve it in a positive way. With that being said, that's the video. Peace.